Hey, what's going on everyone? Hot Sauce Z here for another Battlefield 5 video. So as you've probably noticed, for the last couple of weeks, the Nambu Type 2A SMG for the medic class has been dominating the kill feeds and you while you're playing Battlefield 5. Or maybe you've gone to the dark side and have switched to using the 2A yourself. Hey, I don't blame you. You gotta do what you gotta do to stay in the game, right? Well, if you look at what's going on around the Type 2A, you'll notice that rate of fire, or ROF, is winning the day in the current balance of 5.2.2. Since it takes several more bullets to kill someone at the ranges that we, the players, are accustomed to playing in, naturally it makes sense that a gun that gets more bullets downrange faster is going to win out. In this video, I wanted to quickly run through some comparisons and list off some ROF numbers for different weapons that you might be seeing a lot of in your kill feed after the update to 6.0 yesterday. Stick around through that, and towards the end, I'm going to list off a few weapons that might be flying under your radar, as I rarely see them in the kill feed. Alright, so let's get into it. What's making the Type 2A so strong? Let me tell you. The 2A has a ROF that weighs in at a whopping 1028. It's insane, and it's why we've been seeing the 2A spam that we have. But how do other guns compare? Let's start with the good old STG-44. Many of you have probably noticed this one or have been using it as well. Obviously, the Assault class does not have a 2A, so the STG became a popular choice to keep up. Or did it? Honestly, the STG was pretty popular even before 5.2, and I think its usage numbers simply carried over as it still operates very well in 5.2. But what about its rate of fire? Well, the STG's ROF comes in at a modest 600, much less than the 2A. But what it lacks in speed, it makes up for in exceptional handling and a longer reach compared to Medic's SMGs. Alright, so using those two guns as the endpoints, let's fill in the weapons that should fit between those two as being viable in the current balance. If you gave the new map Solomon Islands a go yesterday, you probably noticed and or used the new M2 carbine, which DICE accidentally released to everyone with update 6.0. So the whole video I made not too long ago about the Chapter 6 reward system is now pretty much useless, but that's a whole different story. The new M2 carbine for the Assault class comes with a ROF stat of 830, which makes it the clear leader of all Assault class weapons in terms of getting bullets downrange. And it actually outpaces all other medic weapons and support LMGs, as well as several of the MMGs. Given the current balance, I'd say it's safe to assume that we will be seeing a lot of the M2 up until the new balance tweaks in the next update, 6.2. Next on the list of popular weapons is the Suomi for the medic class. This is another holdover from the old balance that remains viable still, so people are all about it. The Suomi is sporting an ROF of 770, which puts it just below the M2 in our list. It can be spec'd to be a hipfire machine, much like many of the SMGs, so people are drawn to it. Up next we have the M1907 SF for the Assault class, which comes in at 770 as well. I don't see this one as frequently as the others, most likely due to its small mag, but I do see it frequently enough to make this list. To wrap up the popular list, we have three weapons that all reside in the same ROF range of 720. This is about the mid-range of the popular weapons from what I've noticed, but that's just because the STG holds down the bottom of the range at 600 ROF. The three guns at 720 are the M1928A1 Thompson or Tommy gun, the Type 100, and the Bar M1918A2. While we have definitely slowed down some from the crazy 2A, all of these weapons still spray quickly enough that people don't have any issues, and as a result, I see them a lot in kill feeds and taking me out as well. So, how did I do? Are those the weapons y'all are noticing as well? Those are the ones that I tend to see a lot of each time I play. But these next few guns are some that I find a little interesting, that they aren't being used quite as much, operating under the assumption that ROF wins the day. If we keep the STG-44 and its ROF of 600 as a baseline, there's a few weapons I think could use a little extra love as being just as viable to really spray some lead. Let's start with Assault's Sturmgewehr 1.5 at 670. Sure, it would come in on the lower end of our scale from 600 to 1028, but all of its other handling stats are only slightly lower than the STG-44, and it actually does better with hipfire than the STG. I think one of the main reasons this one doesn't see as much love is simply because it's the very first gun many people start with in the game, and they have simply moved on from it. I'm here to tell you, maybe it's worth a return look. Next up on this misfits list is the MP28 for the medic class, which happens to also sport a ROF of 670 like the Sturmgewehr 1.5. This one actually baffles me a little bit because when you compare it to the Suomi or the Thompson, it does the same amount of damage as both, but actually has better handling and a larger stock magazine. Sure, its ROF is 100 less, but that trade-off is it's just slightly easier to land shots. It's a poor man's Suomi or Thompson, and I think it's also worth another look. Continuing on down the ROF ladder, we land on the KE7 for the support class, which comes in with an ROF of 635 as long as it has the light bolt spec on it. This puts it in our range between the STG and the Type 2A. I feel the reason this one is on this list, and not the first one I gave, is for the reason I just gave you, and that you have to spec this gun to get it up to form. That, and much like the Sturmgewehr 1.5, it's the first support weapon, so many people moved on without looking back. Consider taking a look at the KE7 if you're wanting a change in your support class. Finally, we'll wrap up this list with the MAB-38 for the medic class and its ROF of 600. This one I think has virtually always been pretty underappreciated. I've never really known it to dominate kill feeds, or really even be seen since that first week it was available, and that's because it so woefully doesn't excel at any particular category. It does have better stock handling than both the Suomi and the Tommy gun, but has the same size magazine and a noticeably slower ROF with no light bolt spec to bring it back up. This one is purely on the list because it fell within the criteria that I originally set out to make this video on, which is a rate of fire of 600 or more. Maybe I'll give it a go and see how well it practically performs. Well, that about does it for this one. I just felt an urge to walk through all the quote-unquote trending weapons right now in Battlefield 5, and why I thought they happened to be trending. I definitely think that ROF plays a huge role in the current balance, and that's why we're seeing the weapons that we are. I also think that some of the misfit weapons I listed could have a place in your loadouts as well. Maybe give a few a try, and let me know how it went down in the comments. I know I probably will. Anyways guys, that's all I have for today. Really appreciate you taking the time to check the video out. If you enjoyed it, then be sure to like the video and subscribe as well because I'm putting up new videos all the time. This has been Hot Sauce Z, and I hope to see you at the next video and out there on the battlefield.